Okay, so now we are going to start for today. So we discussed about Azure storage, creating Azure storage account, Azure blob storage, file queue, Azure table storage, disk storage, and blob access tier. Now today we are going to discuss the things which are for next, which is I'm just going to share the topics. 2 minutes. So Azure Database and Analytics Services. Now in the Azure Analytics and Database Services, so Azure Database and Analytics Services. This is the topic which we are going to discuss now. So okay, so first thing, so after completing this model, I mean, you will be able to understand various points at a high level, and you will understand various topics in this. And we will start with, I mean, we are starting with Azure Cosmos DB. So Azure Cosmos DB. Now we will later we will also cover different data related services, but right now this is I mean, we are going to cover the the fundamentals of it, so that it will help you in the future. Now when we are talking about Azure Cosmos DB, it is a globally distributed multi-modal database. So first property, if we are talking about it, it is globally distributed, which means that this is the basic property of the cloud. So this is all. I mean, it supports the global distribution and multi-modal database. So this is multi-modal database. Now, what is multi-modal database? We will perhaps discuss later when we dig down deeper. So right now we are just putting some of the properties. Now this is used for basically for mission critical application. It is a multi-modal database and support documents, key value, graph, column family data models, etc. So there are different type of Cosmos DB. So Azure Cosmos DB provide a comprehensive service level agreement for the throughput, latency, and availability and consistent, and consistency. So therefore, we say that it is for the mission critical application. Why? Because these properties like the throughput, the service level, I mean, comprehensive service level agreement for throughput, latency, availability, and consistency. So these are some of the things which is, therefore we say that it is for the mission critical application. So just for you, I'm also putting this point. So basically consistency, all these things, it gives the guarantee of it. Okay. So which means that for any mission critical application, you will be able to use the Cosmos DB. Cosmos DB is flexible. It is at the, it stores the data in the atom record sequences. Now, we will discuss in the detail, but right now, we just need to remember that how it stores the data. It stores the data in the atom record sequences, and that is the format of it, the format of the data. So format of the data, what is the format of the data? It support Azure, Azure Cosmos DB store data in the atom record sequence, which is the ARS format. Okay, so it supports the data in the ARS format. Okay, so and next is that Azure Cosmos DB support the schema-less data, which let you build highly responsive and always on applications. When I'm saying always on, that means for the mission critical application, like for medical science, the application which we are using in the medical science, the application which we are using for life-saving things, the application which we are using for spacecraft, right? So anywhere there, basically we use this application. So it is always on, and it is schema-less. So Azure DB support the schema-less data, and it also support the always on. Okay, it is always on, highly responsive. Okay, to support the consistency, so that it supports the is the data structured. Okay, the data is structured, but data is not relational. Okay, and it's, since it provides the multi-modal data, so we can't say that, it supports in various different forms, such as, as I mentioned, that it supports the, the key value model, the graph model, the column family data model, the document model, like that. It supports the different models. So it is not like, of course, it is not like blob, right? But yes, it is, it includes various things. For example, the data the data, is abstracted and projected as an API, which you can specify when you are creating your databases. So basically, and that is the beauty of the Cosmos DB, that it, that here the data is abstracted and projected as an API. So therefore, you will be able to use, or specify a different type of database. For example, you can use, and it is your choice that you include the SQL, the MongoDB, the Cassandra tables, Gremlin. So different type of the databases you can use. Because it connects you with with the help of API. So that is the the beauty of it. So the data is abstracted in the form of abstracted and projected in the form of APIs, and also you can use this is your choice, that which type of database you wanted to connect. So you will be able to connect through different type of data, because it supports in the multi-modal databases. It supports multi-modal database. Therefore, you will be able to connect the the different type of data databases. Okay, so it includes I mean, and as I said, the SQL, the MongoDB, Cassandra, tables, and Gremlin. Okay, so all these things, it supports. Okay, so okay, now Azure Cosmos DB is a good choice for uh, all different type of new applications, such as if you are creating an application for web, you are creating application for mobile, for gaming, for IoT application, where where the data automatically scales, and you can have a the predictable performance, fast order of the even the the millisecond response time, and the ability to query over schema free data. So there is no restriction that you need to, that it is a kind of bindation. So there is no bindation, it is schema free data, and you can ensure for the predictable performance, the consistency. So it is having the schema free data, and you can use it for any of your latest um, latest type of application, which is for the either for web, for mobile, for gaming, for IoT. So different type of data, you will be able to for different type of application, you will be able to use this database. This Cosmos DB, and Cosmos DB lend itself, for basically for rapid application development, to support the continuous iteration of application data model. So whichever way you want, accordingly you will be able to use it, right? So that is the, so basically nowadays, if you see the Cosmos DB and then different type, and different type of heterogeneous type of data, like the MongoDB, Cassandra, table, Gremlin, everything you will be able to enjoy here. Now, if I'm talking about just a quick information about the Cassandra, uh, because normally people don't like, most of the people are not much aware about these new databases. So the Azure Cassandra, as I said, that Cosmos DB support the data and project the data in the API format, and therefore the Azure Cosmos DB Cassandra API can be used to store for apps written in, say, Apache Cassandra, right? So this means that you are using existing Apache drivers compliant with the Cassandra, compliant with the Cassandra, Cassandra query language. Your existing Cassandra application can now communicate with Azure Cosmos DB Cassandra API. So suppose if you want uh, to transfer your data or migrate your data from on-prem to the cloud, so it will be easier, because any application which is using Apache, Apache drivers, Apache Cassandra can easily be now migrate to the Azure Azure Cosmos DB Cassandra API, right? Using Azure Cosmos DB Cassandra API, you will be able to shift that data from your on-prem to the cloud. In many cases, you can switch from you can switch from using the Apache Cassandra using Azure Cosmos DB Cassandra API by, just by changing the connection string. So you just change the connection string, and you will be able to switch from Apache Cassandra to Azure Cosmos DB Cassandra API. So it is as simple, it is quite simple, that you just change the connection string, and from your on-prem application, and while you are moving to the cloud, and it will be able to change it. Okay, So just by connection string, you will be able to switch. So that is, so it makes the life easier when you are shifting from on-prem to say cloud. Okay. Now the Azure Cosmos DB API for say MongoDB makes it easy to use the Cosmos DB as if it were a MongoDB database. Okay. So here you are using the the different APIs which is exposed by or which is created by Microsoft to easily switch your data from from Cosmos DB. Using Cosmos DB, and you can leverage your you can leverage your MongoDB experience and continue to use your favorite MongoDB drivers, SDKs, and tools by pointing your application to the API for MongoDB's account. Account connection string. So again, either you are using Apache Cassandra, Apache driver, so you can easily switch to the Cassandra API if you wanted to. Choose the on-prem MongoDB to the Azure Cosmos DB DB. Again, using the using the MongoDB API, you will be able to switch it. So you can use the MongoDB driver, SDKs, tools, etc. And just by changing the connection string, you will be able to switch it. Azure Cosmos DB, is the globally distributed multi-modal database, as I said, where Microsoft is using it for the mission critical applications, right? So and if I'm talking about say Gremlin API, so Gremlin is your graph database where you will be able to normally it is comparatively less used, but yes, nowadays graph databases are also becoming popular, and you will be able to switch your in case if the need is of the graph database, you will be able to switch it. Okay. So Azure Cosmos. Now next is, so this is for your Cosmos DB. Now next point which we are going to discuss is about the Azure SQL database, where we need to use Azure SQL database. Okay. So Azure SQL database, Azure SQL database is basically used for relational databases. Okay. Whenever, in case because I would say a large number of applications are still using the relational databases on the on the on-prem, and there is and still there are different there are different type of databases which are coming up, but still the popularity is for the relational databases. So the relational databases, you can if you are using any relational database, you will be able to switch to Azure SQL database using the Microsoft SQL Server Database Engine. Right? SQL database is a high performance, reliable, fully managed, and secure database. You can use it to build data-driven application and website in the programming language of your choice. So if you are having any data-driven application, or whether it's a website or whether it's an application, a desktop application, or whatever be the type of application, you will be able to use it with the Azure SQL databases, which is relational database. Okay. Now SQL database is, of course, you know that it, using it is popular because of its properties, and it enable you to process both even the relational databases and non-relational structure, such as graph, using the such as graph, JSON, XML. So if in case if you want to exchange the data between your application, you will be able to use it using JSON notation or using XML, like that. You will be able to use it, and you will be able to process your data. Okay. Now You can migrate your existing SQL Server database with minimal downtime by using the Azure Database Migration Services. And this Azure Data Migration Services will help you to generate an assessment report that provide recommendation to help you guide through the required changes prior to performing a migration. So this is a biggest advantage, that in case if you will get in case if you will get a report before doing your migration using Microsoft Data Migration Assistant or Data Migration Services, you will be able to generate an assessment report that how you will be able to transfer your data from your on-prem to your cloud, and that that will make your life very easy, because it is generally these type of services are very handy, right? After you access and resolve any remediation required, so based on the report you will be able to get to know that, okay, in case of any remediation required, and you will be able to perform those remediation first, and then after you will be able to migrate, begin the migration. So Azure Database Migration Services perform all of the required steps. Users change the connection string in your app, and that way you will be able to transfer it. So you can think of that how how it is making your life easy, right? So you are yet to perform the migration, but you first create a report, and in case if any remediation is needed, you perform those remediation, and then you can begin your then you can begin your migration process. Okay, so in fact, the newest capability of the SQL Server are released first to the database, and therefore, whatever be the newest capability, that you will also be able to enjoy if you are using SQL Server. You get the newest SQL Server capabilities with no overhead of update or upgrade, and it is tested across millions of databases. So, and Microsoft, because it is a PaaS service, the Azure SQL Database platform is a PaaS database engine. So therefore, it handles most of the database management functions. I, such as the upgrading, patching, backup, monitoring without user involvement. So you don't need to bother about, in case if a new capability is coming up, if a new patch, Microsoft releases, automatically, it will do the auto upgrading, patching, backup, monitoring, everything, and it gives you a 99.99% availability, right? So that is, and the past capabilities that are built into the SQL database enable you to focus on the domain specific database administration. So you don't need to do, a lethargic, the old pattern database administration. Now you can just focus on the domain specific database administration and optimize activities that are critical for your business. So basically it helps you to avoid several different hurdles. Now SQL, because your focus is now shifted towards the domain specific database administration rather than the doing all the the basic things like upgrading, patching, backup, monitoring, etc., for all the new capabilities which you are having, right? So the SQL database is fully managed service that has built-in high availability backup and other common maintenance operation. Microsoft handle all update to the SQL and operating system code. You don't have to manage the underlying infrastructure. So this is a big advantage in case if you are using the SQL database. So various points we discussed here. One, that how easily you will be able to migrate it from your on-prem to the cloud, and it is a high performance. It is it supports the in-memory technology and intelligent query processing, which means that you can use the advanced query processing features. Okay, and when it comes to advanced query processing feature, that means that you can use the in-memory technology and intelligent query processing services. right? So these are very useful, and it is like the pass. So I mean, all your hurdles will go off. I mean, about the managing of the underlying infrastructure. It provides you a kind of a service where, I mean, as I said, the Azure database migration services and the the Microsoft data migration assistant that can help you to generate the assessment report, right? That can help you to guide through the, I mean, while you are performing the migration, right? So these are the beauty of Azure SQL database. So Azure SQL database is, very popular, particularly in case if you are using the relational databases. And even if you are not using the relational database, you wanted to I mean, based on your different application, you can still transfer your data using XML, using JSON, using Septal. I mean, you will be able to transfer your data from one to other, depending on your need, right? So that is the beauty of it. Now, perhaps we will be, I mean, this, I think you should be able to make a note that when I mean, when we will do the practical, we definitely need to do the practical for the creating the SQL database, and uh, and how we will be able to do that. So that, I mean, this is an important practical which we need to do. Okay, so once we will start our practical, definitely we have now few things which we need to do, like creating, I mean, and one of which is like the creating the SQL database. And perhaps maybe after Holi, we will be able to, I will request one person to create a dummy ID, and then we will be start using it. Okay, so I think then I will be able to demonstrate you, few things which we already discussed practically. But still, I wanted to wait for it for a while until we will have few more topics. Now, coming to your okay, so coming to database creation, just 2 minutes. Okay, I mean, just give me 2 minutes. I am just keeping you on mute for, I mean, for a minute.